Hello everyone. Today we are going to see how we can create a tournament on Auction Chase platform. Whenever you logged into the system, you would be able to see two options to create a tournament. This is the basic layout or the first page which you see once you logged into the system. Here you have an option to create a tournament, or even in the side menu bar in the tournament section itself you have an option to create a tournament. Basically, both of them are one and the same, so we can use any of them to create a tournament. A tournament is basically a tournament could be anything, be it a tournament like an IPL style, open tournament, or a private tournament between your communities or your friends and families. Once you create a tournament, you would be taken to a page where you would be required to add specific details of your tournament. These details mostly are linked with the auction which you are trying to host. If you see here, there is an option to upload a logo. This is basically a tournament logo. If you have to upload it. If you don't have, or if you don't wish to upload that, it is okay to skip that part. It is not a required field. Now, when you go to the tournament name, that is a required field. We you can name your tournament as anything you like. For example, here we are going to name it Comic Star Cricket Tournament. Now, basically, a tournament could be either open or private. Open tournaments are basically the one where people can enroll themselves and you are going to hold it at a state level or a city level or something where anyone can apply. A private tournament, on other hand, would be a tournament where you want a limited set of resources or the players who you know or want to add to the specific tournament. Irrespective of both, the system would remain same at the end of the day, so you can select any of them. But in general, a private tournament is something where you would be hosting your tournaments and would not like to open the tournament for other people to join. For now, we will be creating a private tournament. Now we have basically three sports as of now. Few more sports will be added in future, so we can work on that in the later part. But now we have cricket, football, and other. Irrespective of what you select, if you select cricket or football, both of them would be almost similar. Only difference in terms of details would be that basically in cricket you would be asked for details like what's the best batting order or the bowling style and things like that. Whereas in football, whether he is a goalkeeper or a forward player or a midfielder, something like that. For others, there is no specific detail as such which would be captured. For now, we will be creating a cricket tournament. Enter tournament location city. So if you know where the location is where the tournament is going to be held, you have to add that. It is a required field again because people need to know where the tournament is going to happen. For now, we would say it is going to happen in Mumbai. Description of your tournament. If you have some description which you would like to add, you can add it, or it's still an optional field and you can skip that as well. Now comes a critical part. Basically, here we would be required to add the schedule of your tournament. Do note that these things can change in future in terms of basically you can edit this items once you create the tournament as well. But adding this at the very initial stage gives you the clarity on what the tournament is going to look like. These things are very important and critical in order to host your tournament, because if the registration deadlines are passed, you won't be able to add players to your tournament. The auction date is when the auction will actually start. You can start it in advance, but this is something which people can know and when the auction is going to actually start. Tournament start date and tournament end are basically the dates when the tournament is actually going to happen and not the auction. So for now, let's say we are going to have a registration deadline as 31st of October 2025. We would be holding our auction on 2nd November 2025. Tournament start date, let's say it is on 8th of November, and the tournament end is going to happen on 9th of November. So basically, tournament start and end would be important if the tournament is of open type, because people would like to apply based on their availability. Whereas for the private, it is not that critical. Now you would to define how many teams and what would be the total number of players in each team, and the team budget and things like that needs to be defined. So if let's say there are four teams which are going to take part in this tournament, we would be adding it here as four. So basically, this auction platform supports from 2 teams to 32 teams, which can take part simultaneously in the auction. Players per team, basically, it can be from 3 to 30 as described here. So basically, if there are, let's say for this vote, we are going to have 9 players in each team, we can say maximum number of 9 players would be available. So this is basically the maximum number of players each team can buy in that auction. Now, the team budget. The team budget is basically the budget which would be provided to each team in order to spend at the time of auction. So basically, if you say there are 9 players and I want to say give it 10 lakhs, you can give it. If you want to give 10 lakhs, that's all okay. If you want to give 10 crores, that's also okay. At max, you can give 500 crore points, but logically, since you are in 9 players per team, we would say 10 crores points are enough. So you will be going with that point number. Okay. Here we would have options to select the increments. Okay. So basically, if you want to remove some of the increments, these are some system selected increment points based on your budget. So if you want, there could be 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 50 lakhs, and 1 crore are the increment numbers which you can have. So basically, increment numbers are kind of a bidding configuration. So you can bid on that. For example, if a person is starting price is 10 lakh points, now if you want, you can either bid it to make it 30 lakhs, you can make it 20 lakhs, you can make it 60 lakhs, or you can make it 1.10 crore. Okay, so basically these are the points by which a person, the team owner, can increment the bid of that specific player. For now, let's just assume that we don't want 1 crore. We only want 10 lakh, 20 lakh, and 50 lakhs. Okay, so this is how the bidding configurations look like. You can again change it in future if after creating the tournament as well, because you do have an option to do that same thing and edit tournament as well. Once this is done, now you have an option to add your sponsors as well. This is again an optional field. If you have some sponsors and if you want to view them during the auction on your projector screen or on your platform auction screen as team owner, as a public viewer, or as an admin, if you want to see that, you can add your sponsors. For now, we will be adding one sponsor just to show how it is added. I go to add sponsor button. I upload the logo. I enter the sponsor name. I enter something like an highlighter. So in general, people do have a sponsor for food, sponsor for matches, sponsor for cricketing kit, sponsors for ground, sponsors for umpires and things like that. So basically, if you want, you can add some highlighters there. So we can highlight that this sponsor is basically a sponsor for this specific part. Similarly, you can add the website, their contact numbers, and so that their people can click on it and actually view their website as well, and their marketing can work very well. Coming to the description, you can add a description of the sponsor if required. Everything other than the sponsor name are optional fields and can be skipped. If you don't want, you can skip it. For now, we will add a sponsor. So this is one of my sponsor. His name is. So this is just a dummy data for an example if you want to see, and this is going to be the main sponsor of my tournament. I can add his website as well. For now, I am just adding a google.com link, as this is a dummy tournament which we are creating, and I'll add a sponsor. The sponsor is added. So this is how he would look like. If you click on his website, it will take you to the google.com. Now we can create the tournament. Once the tournament is created, it would look like something like this, where we would see Comic Star Cricket Tournament, where the entire workflow can be managed. If you want to edit the tournament, you can just click on actions and click edit tournament. On editing tournament, again you would be redirected to the same screen, and you can update the data as per your requirement and as per your need. Hope you like the video, and don't forget to like, subscribe or comment on more tutorial videos regarding auction chase, which would be available in near future. Thank you.